Welcome back. So, wow, 2 incidents of sight pollution. But actually, as it turned out, the first one was just a joke. The author tells us about an incident in the past where a ship was about to sail past the Rock of Gibraltar. I am familiar with it being British territory. And one crewman...
Is it really just a rock?
There is a big rock there, but it's not just a rock.
Okay, sorry.
It has a very giant sort of white cliff face, which looks like a rock.
Oh, okay.
But then there's like a little... It's attached to northern Africa.
Okay, man.
Or is it attached to southern Spain? Okay, yeah, I think it's southern Spain, not northern Africa. It's the other side of the channel.
Okay, I see. Anyways, beautiful nonetheless. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay. Good question. So yes, they were about to pass the Rock of Gibraltar, and one sailor said to the other sailor, "Oh, they've put up a huge Coca-Cola billboard on the Rock of Gibraltar." And the other crewman was obviously horrified by this. I can't believe he thought that this story was plausible. But then, of course, when they sailed past the Rock of Gibraltar, no, there wasn't really a Coca-Cola sign there. It was just a joke. So there are 2 groups working to change advertising in public spaces. The first group wants to replace advertising with art or useful information. And the second group wants to completely ban public advertising by government law. There are many interested parties who want to set a precedent for a cleaner, more streamlined look in the streets and around the city. Do you like to see the advertising removed or perhaps replaced or even reduced?
I think there can be appropriate and non-appropriate areas for advertising. I think advertising is a fact of life, which actually, to tell you the truth, it says one party wants to do art or useful information. McDonald's is useful information for those who are hungry and looking for McDonald's. If you're thinking about that, or a local, whatever company is trying to sell their chicken or their fried chicken, or there's billboards showing that the latest, Netflix drama has come out. These are all useful bits of information for our kind of spiritual health, meaning like maybe that McDonald's hamburger makes my day a bit better. And they're also useful for our entertainment. Like with Netflix and stuff. So you can say it's all useful information. Oh,
I like the way you thought about that, yes. What counts as useful and what does not?
Yeah. And so, but I get the sentiment behind it. I just think there's good spaces for advertising, which is going to be public spaces, buses, like buildings and bus stops and trains and whatever. And then there's inappropriate places. And also, I think buildings can, choose what advertisements go on them. So bus stops too, so they can be a little bit more discerning with all that.
Yes.
I don't think there's any need to get all worked up about the advertising in cities. I don't see it as pollution. I see it as a fact of life in the city.
Yes, a part of modern reality.
A modern reality, because businesses need to make money. If they didn't get income, our lives would be very different and not as good. Say that there was something on the Rock of Gibraltar, right? Say that there was something on like Tower Bridge or something. How would you feel if a company put a billboard across one of those landmarks?
That would be really awful to cover up something historic, something that's part of culture. That would be a shame.
Yeah. The Colosseum, just the drop down one, tied at the 4 corners. Advertising. What would the Colosseum advertise?
Yes.
Maybe Disney Plus.
The next boxing match? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I wouldn't feel too good about it too. Like I said, there's appropriate and non-appropriate areas.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't put up alcohol advertisements outside of, Alcohol's Anonymous meeting area, It's just like, let's have appropriate and non-appropriate areas.
Well, I think, what in Britain, when I was young, there was a lot of debate surrounding what you can advertise and what you cannot, rather than so much on where or how it looks. Like, we don't have any cigarette advertising anymore. alcohol advertising is greatly restricted. There's no children's toy advertising legal
That was a
in the
big
UK.
one. Yeah, that's a big one. Of course, not in the US, but I did hear about that. The rule in the US is any advertisements that could be directed towards children must be very obvious and say that they're advertisements,
I see.
especially during TV.
Well, that seems fair.
That seems fair. Now, I've watched your country's YouTubers called The Sidemen.
The Sidemen?
Yeah, don't worry.
I don't know
It's
Sorry,
fine.
guys.
Some of them started out by doing pranks, and some of them still do some pranks.
I see.
But do you know what pranks are popular?
Oh gosh, these days, what
This is a
pranks have
test.
been most popular pranks in the UK.
Don't cheat, sorry.
Knocking on someone's door and telling them they won the lottery and then they didn't.
Wow.
And filming them. I don't know.
You're not a prankster, are you?
No.
So do you think that adults do more pranks or children?
I'd say probably children. I think adults perhaps are a bit more worried about the possible consequences.
Have you lived
No.
in the last few years?
I don't know. I guess maybe nobody's played a prank on me in a long time, so I guess I associate pranksters with being young.
Being young, yeah. What was the last prank you remember?
Gosh. Something silly, like somebody offering to buy me a beer and then just putting some Coke in some fizzy water so it looks a bit like beer and then it isn't.
Okay, I
silly
see.
stuff.
I was about to say, and then they didn't. I was like, that's not a prank. That's just deception.
Just straight up lying.
My mother got me pretty good way long ago. I'm not sure if you have these in the UK, but there is the sink and you have your tap, right? And then right next to it, there's a spray nozzle. You know, you're familiar. So she asked me to get her some tea, and I, of course, will go over to turn on the water and get the tea, but she had put rubber bands around the spray nozzle to make it always on, and it was pointed directly at whoever turns it on. So when I went to go get the water, it just sprayed all over me.
And you couldn't turn it off?
Oh, you can turn it off by turning off the water, but the deed is done, as they say.
Let's take a look at the vocabulary and check in with what funny words we're learning today. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Plausible.
Plausible.
Deface.
Deface.
Lumber.
Lumber.
Lobby.
Lobby.
Aesthetically.
Aesthetically.